dream team is if we started with a blank sheet of paper and we had an unlimited budget, who would we put on our team to work together cohesively to help our customers through that process they are going through?
It's a good question. I like this concept of the dream team because it's good to probably have like that future state. You know, what could we have if money was no object?
You're listening to the Sales Today podcast, and I'm your host, Fred Copestake. On this podcast, we explore how sales professionals can develop a modern approach to winning business, the application of virtual selling techniques, how to create meaningful business relationships, and much more. Why not take our free collaborative selling scorecard to see how your sales approach suits today's environment? You'll find a link in the show notes.
So in this episode of SquiggleThink, we're going to talk about building a dream team. But first up, let me just remind you, SquiggleThink is the term that Paul and I are using to discuss this messy buying journey that our customers go through, because it isn't sequential and logical and normal, and which sales and marketing are coming together to try to help them with. So
Nice.
The dream team is if we started with a blank sheet of paper and we had an unlimited budget, who would we put on our team to work together cohesively to help our customers through that process they are going through?
It's a good question. I like this concept of the dream team because it's good to probably have like that future state. You know, what could we have if money was no object? I like that. I think I'm going to take your lead on this one. I'd love to hear your thoughts firstly on this one as a sales professional, because I have this idea of what I know I would like, but it's whether or not it would work cohesively or not. So I don't know which way you want to run this.
I said money no object and a clean sheet of paper. Let's go with four people.
Four
Four disciplines. The reason I'm picking four is that's what special forces have. And so if it's good enough for them, good enough for us. So they'll tend to have, I think it's signals, a medic, demolition, and a linguist or something like that. When they go off and doing their sort of sneaky beaky stuff. Well, yeah, because with that, they've got enough people to cover every single base in what it is they need to achieve. So what is it that we're trying to achieve? That's going to help us pick our four specialists or four specialist functions that we need to talk about.
Let's put some rules down on this one. Like what size business have we got here?
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
And the reason I'm saying that is because if we work out the pod, if we work out this little unit, we can just replicate it a bunch of times.
Okay.
Because we're talking specialisms. Now, it could be that an individual could be a specialist in 3 or 4 different pods. But really, it's kind of, okay, we want to do a good job here. We want to take people through this messy process by marketing, sales interactions.
So it doesn't matter whether or not they're doing, like whether they're a territory team or whether they're a time zone team, whichever way you want to put it, or a product team. It doesn't matter so much if they're in terms of sales, product sales, territory sales. It doesn't really matter. It's like we're looking for that core four. Yeah,
the core four, or sort of the core functions within there.
Okay, cool. Well, my thoughts are that you're probably going to need someone to actually go out and generate demand, right?
Yep.
So I don't know what that, would that be the CEO, someone who's out there pitching, basically, aren't they?
Interesting.
Is that part? Would you put that as part of the sales team, or would you put that? Is that just a given, and now we're looking for the core four to support that?
It's interesting that you went towards founder-led sales or CEO of the bigger organisation. So somebody who is talking about the stuff that they do or stuff that we've covered in the. I'm
thinking about what
podcast.
I do right now.
Yeah,
is that
what I do?
Yeah,
we try to do.
Definitely trying. We're out there trying to generate demand for what we do, aren't we? Right, and now we're going to need someone or a team of people to filter and qualify that. And
okay, well, let's say that people at the head of the business do have a responsibility to drive demand.
Okay, so
If
that's a
they
given. That's a
don't,
prerequisite, right?
then, okay, they probably wouldn't be listening to this anyway, would they?
Yeah,
So it
fair
doesn't
enough,
matter. So somebody's out there doing some kind of stuff like
Okay,
that.
right. Okay, so now we're looking for
Yeah.
the core four
Yeah.
below that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so Fred, who are you having?
So we need someone who can do face-to-face or virtual, in real life, synchronous
Yeah, nice.
sales meetings. They're going
Okay.
to have to talk to somebody when we get to that point of the sale.
So are they? They're like the qualifier. Are they the qualifier? Are they understanding whether or not this is a worthy opportunity to pursue?
In the past, I'd have said they probably were. But bearing in mind some of the stuff that you told me in one of the other podcasts, where we can be quite cute in the way that we craft the lead and do all that sort of stuff,
yeah.
this may be passed to them when someone is far further down the cycle.
Okay.
Or maybe they are going to run the cycle from when it's passed to them, which could involve qualifying, taking them into presentations, writing the proposal, negotiating, doing all that kind of...
Yeah,
it's what I would understand as a salesperson. It's what I train.
I would add a caveat though to that slightly, in that from the marketing perspective, if we're talking about managed services or service-based businesses, for instance, they can answer all the questions, right? But I don't think one thing you can really truly understand digitally is client fit.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you would still probably need some kind of qualifier or someone with great intuition and good judge of character potentially to go, I'm getting some red flags here from this person because I've got horror stories, where my judgment has slightly been off, or, where I've been in a position where I needed a sale, or in a position of, they're giving me good vibes, but they said something that I should have probably been aware of. So maybe you need someone who's got, those more intangible qualities, to sort of filtering that lead potentially. I don't know.
It might be the language. So for me, qualifier is qualify and qualify out. That is part of a sales process, part of a sales framework. Again, look at what I would write about, I talk about. We'd go, the salesperson is looking for the right opportunities, then they're doing the right research, to have the right conversation, to put the right solution together in the right format, and then make sure the customer is getting the right outcome.
Okay.
And that for me is a salesperson's job.
Right.
And maybe that's going to change, but is that what we're saying, that we need somebody who is competent, skilled in those kind of activities?
Again, I think it kind of comes down to the level of leads, the number of leads that you're bringing in every week or every month or every year if it's that long. But so I think if we go with what I believe to be, this is why I asked the size of the business, because I think it matters.
Yeah, okay.
Because if you've got a small business with 12 or less people, this probably can be managed by one person. But 12 people who are bringing in maybe 100 leads, 200 leads a month or something. I'm being very generous there, because most people only need something like, I think, 5 or 10 leads a week to massively improve their business or something. But if we're just going on a rounded number of 100 leads, that probably could be managed by one person, definitely.
Okay, so a salesperson, a full cycle salesperson who understands all of the elements of selling.
Yeah.
If they weren't getting any support at all, they could probably do a job. Mm-hmm. They would do a job.
Yeah.
That's what they have been doing in the past. But what we're saying is, you're good at some of this stuff, but we can make you better at it because we're going to put bits of support in there.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think support is the key word, actually.
Team captain then.
Yeah.
So we changed the squad to the team to the whatever. So it's them who is at the pointy end, and now they're going to have people who are looking after them, sorting them out with other stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think this is interesting now, actually, because we are talking about various sizes of company here, because obviously it's very much dependent on number of leads. I mean, I'm thinking about just putting this in my situation as it currently stands and where we want to go. So I am kind of I have a business development guy who works for me who scouts the opportunity, qualifies the opportunity, but the consultative led sales approach comes from me.
Okay.
Because I have the time and I want to do that because my position within the company is the last line of defense, but the first line of attack. So I'm kind of like bookending my team to make sure that I'm only letting in the clients that I think my team will enjoy working with. But if for whatever reason, they don't, or something goes wrong, which inevitably it does, for some people at some stage, I'm there as the backup. So I'm leading the pack and I'm backing the pack up as well from that perspective. So we have a 2-man team, if you look at it that way, and we use tech to support. But if we're looking at a bigger business, then
so if we 10x you,
yeah,
we've not even used 10x in the whole of this series.
Yeah, just
well
bring Grant Cardone into it.
No, but I'm just saying, if you got considerably bigger, you couldn't do all that.
No, absolutely not. And I wouldn't want to be at that level
doing
either.
all of the things. So you'd have to do the whole that sales cycle I described.
Yeah.
In fact, you probably need 2 or 3 of them. Mm-hmm. So again, that person, I think, is picking themselves. How can we support them? What do we need to give them to make sure they can do all of those elements of selling as best as possible? Because sales it's getting more complex for that kind of person. They've got more things they need to be good at.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, I think it's been, for some businesses and some verticals, it's been made more complicated than it should be. Yeah. That's a bit of a broad statement, and I'm not backing that up with an example right now. But I think from what I see, it's a very complicated game for a lot of people for no major reason.
And some have made it overcomplicated for themselves and they didn't need to. Some have not leveled up to do some of the stuff they really should be doing. To be doing as best they possibly can.
Okay, so I mean, again, it kind of comes down to vertical as well in terms of whether they're, B2B or B2C tech potentially, whether they're service, professional services, coaches, consultants. I think different industries and different verticals will need to be taken into account. So anyway, coming back to the core 4, even if it is 4,
it was only 4 because it is for the SaaS. But that's specialized service.
I personally believe. I think you need someone immediately there to qualify.
Okay.
Someone who is very, very much enriched with the information about what a good client looks like and what to look out for, and what should they be looking out for in terms of red flags as well. So I definitely think a qualifier, or someone in that in that realm should be in the team. Would you agree, or?
Maybe I've got too strong a bias to the full cycle person that it's ultimately their responsibility for doing the whole lot.
So one person
is going to say, I'm ultimately going to pick that's the right opportunity for us. It's me who's then going to, and I'm making that decision very carefully because I've got to do all the research to go and then do a decent job. When I start talking to them, I've got to be bringing them insight and something to the party. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, why are they going to talk to me? What's the point? Then I've either got to introduce people or work stuff out for myself as to what the solution is going to look like. And I've got to present it to them and put the proposal together and do all that cool stuff. And then if we're saying we're going to work together, then I've got to make sure that stuff's happening.
Okay. I mean, that definitely works with like services.
Yeah.
Because you are literally taking them on a journey and you're in control of that journey. I think in terms of other industries, I think you're probably going to need more people. But I like this idea of like one person approach throughout the journey, but you just have more people for less amount of leads per person or less amount of qualified prospects per person moving through the journey rather than, okay, right, my job is to discover, my job is to qualify, my job is to, make,
I'm
develop
not a big fan of
that
silo stuff. I mean, it's very, very popular in certain areas.
Yeah, I like this BD to, BDR to SDR type, but yeah.
To pass it on to customer success at the end of it. Customers hate it. They feel like hot potatoes just being chucked around between people. And everyone I've spoke to outside the tech, the SaaS space, they just go, isn't that weird? Our customers would hate that. Or I would hate that as a salesperson because I want to be able to control all that. Now, I wouldn't mind a bit of help, is what they said. It's like, what do you want the help in? Well, if I've got to put my marketing type stuff out there, I don't really know how to make videos. I don't really know the stuff to say. I don't really know how to write a post. I don't need, which is a training solution. Or do we say, let's not even try and train you in this, because every time we do, you just don't do anything about it. Let's put somebody in there behind you that's going to feed you this stuff, prepare it for you. Come in, spend a day, sat down, on camera, talk, do the stuff you need to do. We'll cut it up, make it look nice, and we'll give it you to drop out on your LinkedIn profile. Yeah. Maybe, I don't know. That's kind of where I'm thinking on this special team.
Almost seems too idealistic there, Fred.
We're allowed to. It's a dream team.
Yeah, I think I would mostly agree with that. I'm just trying to think of different verticals in terms of because different industries are going to have different sales processes, right? Yeah. So different people for different jobs to be done, as I think you've mentioned before. So because sales doesn't stop once they've bought, though, does it?
It
starts, exactly. So it's having, the account manager or, the head of customer success or whatever, they are part of that core four, I would say, because it's continuous sales, because the businesses that are going to win are the ones that actually can, make sure that customer stays on longer and increases the value of that. I don't want to, customer lifetime value is the metric there, but it's looking at that's very one dimensional in terms of how much of money are they giving us. We want customer happiness, we want customer satisfaction, so that kind of needs to be ingrained in the sales process post purchase, because that's when the selling continues, isn't it? So I would put in the account manager or the customer success manager.
Okay. Assuming there is a handoff to them, whereas some people might say, no, I'm going to carry on with them forever.
I think as long as there is an overlapped approach where that salesperson that they initially had contact with is almost like keeping an eye and sort of touching base with them, but maybe it becomes less frequent once they've become and built a rapport with their account manager, because that's when the relationship starts to deepen. With the account manager or the customer success manager. Yeah. So I think that there's a period of overlap, really. If you imagine you're writing a song and you're recording it and you've got all these different instrument lines, you've probably got the drums that are continuous, and that can be, representative of the client. And then every now and then you've got these accents of different instruments. So the bass comes in here, the drums come in here. The guitar comes in here, and then the vocals. If you imagine different roles like that, there's overlap. And I don't think it's like a job done type thing. I think it's, you're touching base at intervals, really, I think. And again, this is probably for services specifically.
Yeah.
But you can definitely have it in tech as well. So someone touching base with you every 3 months, going, it was great to, how are you still enjoying it? Is there anything I can feed back? And that could be the initial salesperson, for instance. I don't know.
It tends not to be, because they're handing it off from the meeting.
Yeah, of course it tends not to be. Again, we're working with hypotheticals here, aren't
we are, and again, it's funny. I was telling you earlier, wasn't I, about selling flavors to crisp manufacturers?
Yeah, crazy.
I actually work with those guys, and it's the same person. So it's that salesperson. Has only 10 customers in the UK.
Wow.
There's only 10 crisp manufacturers, but they will go to, we say, Walkers, okay, and they will talk about salt and vinegar and cheese and onion every year, because if they're not selling it, somebody else. Well, they are trying to sell it, if that makes sense. So somebody else is attacking that flavour because it's worth so much. So they've got to do stuff to defend it. But they're also then going in and talking about, what was the one I was saying? That Prosecco and cranberry or something
Prosecco.
weird.
What was it?
Christmas flavour.
Yeah.
But for them, that is their account. That is who they look after. They look after walkers, and they will do everything for it, and then pull in different people as and when they need.
So who have we got so far then?
I don't think we've got anybody.
We've got no one. Damn it.
Well, no, I don't know.
We've got a qualifier. But
We've got a
you
qualifier,
believe
but
that
I
it's
don't
a
know if it's a
one-person
full
job.
cycle salesperson, if it's the salesperson whose job it is to be a salesperson.
So pre-purchase, you believe it's a one-person job, and then there's a handoff to an account manager,
Or they carry on.
or they carry on. Not ideal, I don't think. They probably, because there is going to be a relationship that's going to. I think servicing and it depends what kind of person you have on your team, actually, because there's people who are great at quick sales. There's people who can shorten that cycle, and there's people who need to, people who are great at building that relationship over a longer period of time. So maybe like looking at the sales cycle itself, if it's a shorter sales cycle, like 3 months, maybe that's great for someone, a particular personality, or if there's someone where the sales process is a year, I don't know, just as an example, maybe that's someone with an incredible amount of patience, attention to detail, accountability. Maybe we're looking at this all wrong. Maybe it's a set of traits that we need to put in our core team.
So we've got the seller. Okay.
I'm going to bring the founder into this, by the way. I think they are definitely part of the sales is massively part of their job, because it's not sales in the typical, ringing people up, but it's sales in terms of generating demand. That's generating those signals of interest, which I think is really important.
And doing the stuff. So it's funny.
It's
as we're talking through this, I keep moving between. I'm cycling between all the different kind of organisations I've worked with, from people that are selling £1 million worth of hospital equipment.
Yeah.
Selling an MRI scanner or something like that. And you got people selling the flavours. People who got trucks. People who sell beer. People who sell. There's all these different types of sale. Tends to be one person.
Yeah.
Who is the salesperson?
Who has an account.
Well,
wouldn't that technically be business development?
They call them BDM, they call them account manager, they call them all sorts of stuff. Interesting.
I think what we're getting out of this conversation today is that titles don't mean shit.
Well, pretty much. There are jobs to be done. There's
Jobs to
things,
be done,
and maybe that there are those parts of a sales cycle. Now it's up to you how you want to cut that. If you want somebody to work out who the ICP is and approach them, great. And then somebody who's going to do the research.
That will have come from the foundational work that the founder and the executive team will have done, right? Or the marketing team as well.
Yeah, again,
they will have done that, and that sales have been a part of that.
This is who we sell to.
Yeah,
we sell our stuff.
Who do
to
we
these
serve?
Type of people.
Who are we? Who do we serve? Yeah,
and we are going to do stuff to help you, hopefully.
Yeah.
Now, whether that is come out and visit with you on the road when you're visiting somebody on a Tuesday afternoon in York, or we will be consistently communicating these things and making the right sounds about what it is that we do. And so you, salesperson or salespeople, if you are siloed, need to be doing these certain jobs.
Yeah.
Now, one of the jobs is probably picking up on our sounds that we are making and those messages we're putting out and amplifying that.
Yeah, yeah.
And they'll say, what, another set of skills? Well, yeah, because you're a salesperson, that's what you should do. But in this case, we will help you because we will put a marketing assistant or a content creator or a whatever in your little squad, because they will be feeding you this stuff. Because we would prefer you're sat talking face-to-face with customers, because that's their job for you to do. But we need this coming out from you as well. Because you're going to start face-to-face with customers. So really the customer should have seen you saying it as well as us.
Interesting.
I don't know.
I think what we're kind of getting to here is that we've got a salesperson as part of a wider marketing team. Salesperson is just the the person who talks to the person, talks to the lead, talks to the prospect, guides them through. It's your solution, but it's also a little bit of my solution here as well, is that we've got someone to qualify it. That could be one person, your person. But I think it's kind of this idea of there's jobs to be done. It's not one person. It is a team of people. But I think what we've kind of come to is that sales and marketing need to be absolutely blended. It's marketing's job to arm the sales guys. It's the salesperson's job to feed back to the marketing team and to arm them with the information that they've gathered from the phone calls and the meetings. So actually, I think we've kind of come full circle, and we've got a sales and marketing team here.
Yeah.
It's a marketing team.
Who might also tap into very specialist type stuff. If you're selling a very specialist product that you wouldn't expect marketing to be ultra expert in, sales to be ultra expert in, you can pull your
resources.
Pull the resource in, because that's who you need at this stage. When the customer is talking about and thinking about this, you need to get this person in there talking about this stuff.
But hypothetically speaking as well, taking your example, someone who's going out there and sourcing the opportunity, you could then come back to your team and go, I found a really good opportunity. Let's create some collateral that is going to really guide him through here. Him or her, sorry. Guide them through the process. And presuming it's a high touch, high worth product, high value product that you're selling, obviously if you've got lower value products but you need to sell more of, then that team just do more of that activity. But I like this idea. I think that would probably be my core four, or my core team, my dream team there, really.
A customer-facing individual.
Yeah.
Marketing specialist.
Or team, yeah. So definitely a copywriter included in there.
Well, there's copywriter, there's someone who's driving the tech.
Yeah, someone who's I mean, if you can afford it, have all of them. Yeah, so someone who can do graphic and visual design. You've got a copywriter, you've got a comms expert, who probably is the copywriter, actually, to be fair. You've got someone who can do ads or whatever. Yeah, I think
and then specialists as required.
I think as we're coming to the end of this, we've kind of identified that sales and marketing absolutely need to be blended. It's just as and when there's outward conversation, or if there's work that needs to be done inwardly to create some assets.
People probably aren't going to listen to this and pull apart their sales and marketing departments and put them back together based on what we're still trying to work out what makes sense, and we were kind of prepared for this. What hopefully people are thinking, though, is we have people who are out there, their job is to be face-to-face, they need to talk to customers, and that is what they're tasked with. We've got people who are here that are creating useful information for those people that these guys are trying to talk to.
Yeah.
And it will be a whole lot better if they get their heads together and do it in a slightly more coordinated way.
Yeah.
Because ultimately the person they're speaking to, and that's where the focus has got to be, is going to get a better service as a result of it.
100%.
A better experience.
And I think this idea of, coming back to an earlier topic of the salesperson being able to create their own collateral as well, like, use their own feedback to have the initiative to go away and create, is the creative sales type approach, which I think would be really good. But yeah, I don't think I think it's definitely this idea that sales and marketing absolutely need to be blended. And I think this whole idea of one role for one job, if you have the level of demand, silos don't work. I don't think. I think you do need a bit more of the relationship approach. But hey, it's horses for courses, isn't it? Different strokes and all that. Each team are going to work differently. I would like to see that.
Yeah, I'd be quite interested in what people are doing.
Yeah, it'd be good to get some feedback
to this, and we have a way, and it's working brilliantly for us. Please let us know.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, let us know. Yeah,
get in touch. If it's something you are trying to get your head around and you want to kick it around a bit more with us, again, please get in touch. You can tell it's something that we do care about a lot and want to make sense of. So, yeah, the invitation is there. We are available to carry on this conversation and to perhaps actually nail down that dream team.
Amazing. This has been really fun.
I've enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah, thanks for doing this, mate.
Thanks for.
I think it's been good to get this formalised as well. It's been a long time in the offing.
It has. We've been thinking about it for a bit.
It has been, yeah. And thanks for everyone who's tuned in and seen it through and actually put up with us for this series. But it's been really, really good fun. Thanks, man.
Yeah. No, thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Sales Today podcast with me, your host, Fred Copestake. I hope you've enjoyed what you heard today. If you did, please get in touch and hit subscribe. And remember, you can take the Collaborative Selling Scorecard for free to check out how your sales approach works in today's environment. You'll find it in the show notes.